What's going on, guys? It's Macleod GF, and today I'm going to be doing my first LEGO Minecraft minifigure scale review on the Ender Dragon, and the set number for this one is 21117. The recommended ages are 8 and up, and it has a piece count of 634, while the price point is $69.99. So here we are, guys, at the minifigure scale Minecraft sets. This has finally happened, and it has been long enough. I mean, already as it was for the past like month or two, we've had big Minecraft YouTubers getting these sets early and teasing us with them, but they are now officially available on Lego.com, the entire lineup. They were actually on Amazon for a day. I forget which day it was, but when they were up, I was able to snag the end before Lego had Amazon take them all down, and I'm glad I did, because this is definitely the set that I wanted to start with. And it's already been a year, over a year, since I was at Minecon in Orlando last year, and a couple of the designers from the Lego group flew in to get some opinions on the minifigure scale Minecraft sets and like the prototypes for the minifigures, and I can't believe that was already a year, and it's taken them quite a long time to actually get these sets finished. And I mean, I would definitely say it's worth it, because for minifigure scale Minecraft sets, this is honestly exactly what I think we should expect. It's just the problem with transferring actual in-game Minecraft stuff over into Lego minifigure scale. It can be complicated, because this is not like Micro Worlds where you can make things look a lot like they are in the game, because now you've got these minifigures, you've got studs, you've got a lot of different elements that make these so much different from the Micro Worlds that also bring on a lot of flaws. And these flaws that I have pointed out previously in like analysis videos have led you guys to believe that I actually really hate these sets, and that's not the case. It's just that these flaws that I'm going to point out, they have their reasons, and they're completely understandable, but they are still problems that I think could have probably been done differently. But it's so controversial because, like I said, the reasoning behind these problems are completely understandable, and a lot of what I'm saying right now probably doesn't make sense. So without further ado, let's get into it. And here we go. We've got the base for Minecraft players. This is pretty much what they look like now. They are just Lego minifigures with square heads, and this one, however, has the diamond armor set, as this is the only set to have the diamond armored Steve, and I believe the only set to have the diamond sword. But yeah, this is the first time we're getting minifigure scale Minecraft players and Minecraft tools, so I mean, it's a lot to discuss here. I'll try to get through it, but you can see that we're going to go ahead and talk about the armor first before I discuss the head. You can see we've got the diamond helmet looking really nice, and it is not attached by any studs. It is just pretty much a nice and accurate mold and rendition of the helmets that we see in game. So I mean, really nothing to say other than that. You can see the design inside is really nice. You have a few little bits of plastic running down the interior to make sure it fits nice and snug on the head, which is pretty nice. And but taking it off, actually, you can see we've got the diamond chest plate, and this is also the base for what chest plates look like now for these minifigures. And you can see that the shoulders, they went for a much more like sort of rectangular route with the shoulders to make sure that there would be no restrictions applied to the minifigure's arms when moving them back and forth, which is definitely pretty nice, and it is accurate as well, so really no complaints with the chest plate. Looks really awesome. And you can see that Steve has a diamond pair of leggings as well, but unfortunately that is the minifigure's legs. You cannot actually have a regular Steve unless you have a pair of purple legs lying around. You'll just pretty much have to stick with the diamond leggings for Steve here. And in terms of printing, Steve has a very minimal amount going on. It's literally just his face and a little bit for his chest. Other than that, there's no other printing to be had on Steve or any of the Steves in general for these Minecraft sets. And yeah, so the diamond sword is really interesting, and in terms of its texturing, I think it's okay. It's just I'm not sure if I'm really that okay with it, because the texture, it's just so noticeable. It's not that noticeable in game. The swords don't look like that in game. They're completely smooth, and basically the reason Lego added this texture was to pretty much give you the illusion of the pixelated look they have in the game. And I mean, once again, totally understandable, but not sure if this was totally necessary, because for people like us who have spent the past few years playing Minecraft, it is kind of strange to look at because it's completely inaccurate in that regard. sword, but still really interesting for our first. This is pretty much obviously going to be the base for Minecraft tools for the swords anyway, for that matter. So I mean, it's definitely pretty cool. But yeah, so there you go. That's the official Minecraft sword, and it's basically got a standard handle for the minifigure to grip onto. But now onto the actual minifigure itself. We've got the basic Minecraft head going on here, which is literally just a square head with a little bit for the neck piece to attach onto coming down through the mold, and it's pretty hollow on the inside actually, but yeah, literally just a cube with a face printed on the front of it. It's just a dark brown cube with the face printed on. You can see the eyes are outlined, which I thought was kind of weird because I would honestly like to see what Steve would have looked like without the eyes outlined, because obviously there's nothing outlined about your player in game, so using the outline around the eyes, hopefully that was for a good reason and looked bad otherwise. I'd like to, like I said, I'd like to know what it looked like without the eyes outlined, but I mean, yeah, so the head is just a cube, and that's it. I was hoping for maybe the sides to be printed so that it would look like he has hair and that he's not like just some sort of gorilla, because that's kind of what he looks like. That's because this, you know, there's nothing on the sides and there's no printing. They didn't have the pad printer go all the way around the head, and I mean, in terms of manufacturing, that would probably be pretty you know, expensive and cost-wise unnecessary, and that's understandable as well. But I mean, you know, it still does not excuse the fact that it does still look very odd. But I mean, yeah, guys, so I guess that's what I'm going to be painting onto for my foreseeable Minecraft customs, are those little square heads. But I mean, yeah. So that's a thing, and if I can get the sword to attach onto, we can go ahead and move on to the Enderman. So the Endermen themselves, I mean, they're really nice, and honestly, when I saw these, I was like, okay, there's gotta be something inaccurate about these. They just don't feel right. And but then looking at Endermen in game, this is exactly right, proportionally and everything. These are really pretty much exactly what you'd expect. And the head is fully rotatable, by the way. It can go a full 360, and it pretty much has the standard Lego minifigure, you know, like nub for the head to stick onto, and then you've also got the arms, which are basically just 1x6 tiles, and then you've got the interior, pretty much, I guess you could consider it, of the minifigure, which is just made up of a 1x1 tile and a 1x1 black plate as well, and you can see those two things right here, and they attach onto a couple studs. And if we go ahead and actually disassemble the rest of this guy to give you a look at what is actually its own unique mold, is we've got this entire thing. I thought that this guy might have been made up of pieces or something, but this is literally all one big mold, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I was not expecting this from LEGO Group when I did the analysis videos for this set, because I didn't really see this one coming, but this is all one big mold for the Enderman, and it's proportionally accurate. This is exactly the right sizing and exactly the right shapes for the Enderman that you would expect, and I realized that my problem was not with the Enderman and this super awesome mold that the LEGO Group has put together for them, but it was with the minifigures themselves, the Steve minifigure. It's literally the fact that the LEGO minifigure is not to scale with what is, you know, with the Enderman, because the Endermen are to scale. The Endermen are accurate, but Steve is not, because in-game, the Endermen are 2 blocks taller than Steve exactly. And if we go ahead and we take off the armor on Steve, and we put him next to the Enderman, and then we take the block and put it on top of him, it's still not tall enough. And as it is, the block is also out of scale. So, I mean, the scaling is out the window with these sets. It really is. And that's the unfortunate reality of minifigure scale, you know, being transferred here. You know, the actual characters from in-game, the mobs being transferred into Lego minifigure scale here is just, you're not going to have scaling being accurate. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. And I mean, even like the pigs and the cows and the sheep should be bigger, and it's just, it can't happen, because this is just the way Lego is. You can't change it. So I mean, in terms of scaling, yes, it is a problem, but can it be resolved without tons of new molds being made? No. But like you'll see, what I just did there is I pretty much took the 1x6 tiles that are being used for the arms, and you can attach them to these studs that you saw available on both sides of the block, which are pretty much just, literally the block is made up of just 4 1x4 or 1x1 modified bricks. That's literally all you've got going on underneath here. It's just a bunch of, like I said, 1x1 modified bricks to make up the available studs for the, once again, you get 3 of these blocks and 3 of these Endermen. So it's a nice mold, it's a nice design, and it's a great feature overall that I honestly can't complain about. It's just the fact that everything in terms of scaling is off with these sets, and it's unavoidable. And yeah, but that's pretty much it though for the minifigures and my first go around about talking about them. So I mean, yeah guys, there you go. And one thing I realized I did not mention with Steve is the actual bow, so I'm actually going to go over that right now. If there's anything I'm known for in my reviews, it's mistakes, and one of the mistakes that I made in this review is not showing the bow originally with Steve, and you can see that the bow also has the exact same thing going on with the three-dimensional texture that the sword had, where I just don't understand it, because it's not in the game. You don't have anything like this in the game. There's nothing. I mean, it's just really strange, and I mean, it's understandable to a degree, but I mean, when they've got it like poking out the back here and making it look really horrendous, it's just kind of awkward. And not to mention the actual arrow. If you look in game, Minecraft arrows, they don't look like this. They have the shape of an arrow. They aren't just a little twig in the middle of a bow, as LEGO is portraying them here. So I'm not really fond of that and how the actual arrowhead looks. It's just absolutely bizarre. So I can't really say that I'm too big a fan of the bow because the 3D texture just really did a number on this one. It's not as bad on the sword, granted, but I mean, it did a number on the bow, and the actual arrowhead really does kind of ruin it for me. So I can't say I'm fond of this design. It's just I don't think it was done right, and that's just my own opinion though on the bow. And there you go. So now we've pretty much gone over everything with these minifigures, and hopefully you guys have stuck around so we can go ahead and move on to the actual point of this review, the actual set itself. Okay, and here we go with the actual set. We've got the end itself, and we're going to be splitting this up in sections. I'm not going to be going over the Ender Dragon and the actual obsidian, block that you spawn on, or the portal all at once. Instead, we're going to start off with just the actual end portion itself and all of the pillars. And yeah, so you can see the minifigures, they fit on there pretty nicely, and they look, really fitting. Now, one of the things I immediately noticed when I finished building the end is how the LEGO group just left the back open right there, which I thought was kind of unfortunate because you literally could have just included a few more bricks to cover this up, and so they just left it wide open, and there were no extra bricks. I didn't miss anything. That was literally just left wide open. That's one of the many things that I'm going to go over here, but as you can see, the minifigures, they all do look really awesome on the actual set itself, but you might notice it's kind of crowded, and that's one of the problems that this set does present. I honestly think that this set should have possibly been maybe a $120 set alongside the mine, and maybe have been the biggest set, because the end is massive and you really kind of need the extra room, because the two problems that you already have going on here, aside from the fact that the actual thing itself, the actual terrain is built in about the most simplistic way possible, is that it's very small. I mean, the end here, you've these pillars. There is no Enderman in the game that is taller than any of these pillars. This is completely inaccurate, and I honestly think that these pillars should have been double the size, and that the terrain should have been expanded, and that this set should have been $120 and should have been the biggest set, because honestly, this needed to be bigger. The end is just not this small. It really isn't. But yeah, so another thing in terms of actual, gaps in between is you've got more gaps underneath, and as we all know, there are no blocks that are about a plate thin. So honestly, the LEGO group as it is, this entire thing is pretty much already made up of 2x4s with the occasional 2x2. Could have just put more 2x4s and 2x2s along the bottom to cover up these gaps, because it honestly looks really strange. And I mean, obviously that can be solved if you use your own bricks, or maybe take these bricks that are already poking out and move them, have them facing inwards yourself. But honestly, I do think that these should have been filled in, because there are no blocks thin enough to look like this. So that's just an accuracy thing that only I would probably point out. But yeah, so as I mentioned, in terms of the terrain, this entire thing is literally just made up of a few plates and a ton of 2x4s with your occasional tan 2x2s and some light bluish gray, some light gray 2x2s on the bottom. And like I said, you can see you have the occasional 2x2s here, but I mean, for the most part, it's literally all 2x4s, and I think that's really unfortunate because, my God, you can go to your Lego store and build this exact same set on site. Like, I mean, right there in the store, you could do this exact same terrain. But I mean, aside from the terrain and how it's covered in studs, the actual pillars are really awesome. I'll get to the studs factor that I mentioned there a little bit later, but this entire thing, these entire pillars are really awesome. I mean, it's just the only problem, like I said, is that they're way too short, which is why I think this set should have been double the size to make this more accurate. But I mean, playability-wise, it's probably not too big of a deal. And what's also really great playability-wise is, as we all know, we've all played Minecraft and gone to the end God knows how many times, is as we all know, Steve does come with the bow, and the bow is used for shooting down the actual ender crystals to stop the ender dragon, you know, from gaining any more power. So that is what you've got going on here with the light up brick, and it's really awesome because it flings out if you push on it too hard and it gets stuck to your finger. But you can see if you push down on it, you've got a light up brick inside one of these. Doesn't show up too well with all these lights on, but I gotta stop that from happening. You can see we've got some nice trans pieces to represent the ender crystals, and it's really nice. I really like the way these look. And what's awesome about this is that you can take the light up brick out. If you take the entire set and just actually flip it upside down, the light brick will fall out, because literally all it is inside you've got a bunch of tiles inside each pillar that pretty much allow, I'm not sure if I'm showing you this, that allow you to take the light brick out and put it in whichever ender pillar you want. I didn't actually take a trip to the Minecraft wiki. You know, when you're playing Minecraft and going to the end, you don't actually think of what the names of the pillars are supposed to be. But yeah, so you can take the light brick and put it in whichever pillar you want, and pretty much just take the brick and put it in there, and you can swap out any of these. So I mean, yeah, but other than that, like I was talking about earlier, in terms of the terrain, this is my only problem with these LEGO Minecraft minifigure scale sets. And it sucks because this is a completely understandable problem. You've got the entirety of these sets are all covered in studs. And I mean, unless you've got a texture pack on in Minecraft, unless you have the Lego texture pack on in Minecraft, there are no blocks covered in studs. And I mean, once again, this is Lego, and you need to have the space and the studs available to put your minifigures and stick them wherever you want. And that is completely understandable, because as it is, people hated the fact that micro mobs would be slipping around all over the place and falling off the actual set. And that's totally understandable that we have these studs. So I mean, for people like me who dislike them, it's just my burden to actually put the tiles on myself, because I mean, for the general public, who the hell is gonna want these sets covered in tiles to the point where you can't stick them anywhere just for the sake of them looking more like Minecraft? I mean, I think that would really suck, but I mean, not for me though, and that's the thing. For people, the majority of people, that would be really awful, but for me, it would be awesome, because I display these sets. I don't actually play with them, but I mean, it's totally, like, I mean, this is a completely understandable thing to have these sets covered in studs. So I'm not saying I completely disagree with the reasoning. It's just that it's just kind of an unfortunate, unavoidable thing. So that is one of the main reasons that it led you guys to believe that I dislike these sets, by how much I hated the fact that they were covered in studs. But I mean, it is completely understandable. So I mean, other than that, though, that is really it for the actual end itself. I mean, you've got the studs in between the majority of the bricks within the ender pillars, by the way, which is pretty sweet. But I mean, I should say the obsidian pillars, but I mean, yeah. So that's pretty much it for the actual set and my opinions on it. Now we can get a better look at these two things, and then we'll go on to the actual ender dragon. Okay, so what we've pretty much got going on here, we've got the actual portal that is created once you defeat the Ender Dragon, and then we've got the obsidian block that is created when you spawn in the end, and then like we all do, we build over to the actual end island itself. So, I mean, it is, they're portrayed really nicely here, once again, covered in studs, but totally understandable. You can see we've got the main factors of this portal. We've got the actual portal itself represented with 2x2 trans blue pieces, which is really nice. The trans blue bricks are definitely the way to go for the portal, and you've got the 4 torches clipped on all 4 sides, just like the way it is in the actual game. And obviously, one thing though is that they're not actually centered like they are in the game, but who cares? And you've also got the actual dragon egg on top, which is portrayed with 2 different pieces, which is really nice, and one of which I don't actually recognize. But as you guys know, I don't actually follow any of LEGO's other lines aside from Star Wars, superheroes, and now Minecraft, so I don't actually recognize that piece personally, but it might have been in Chima or one of the other lineups that I don't don't actually follow. But yeah, now this originally, if you look on the box art for the end, Lego kind of portrays this thing as being some sort of magic carpet, when really it's not. It's the lonesome thing that you spawn on, and then you are just pretty much guaranteed death if you didn't bring any blocks with you. But yeah, so you can also see that it has 4 torches on all 4 corners, which is pretty nice. It's just when I spawn in on these obsidian blocks, I don't actually put torches on all 4 corners of it. I just kind of build over and leave this thing where it's floating off in the middle of nowhere. But pretty much you can put Steve or any of the 3 Endermen on top of it, and if you want to, you can use it to have like some sort of magic carpet flying around, just like the way it's portrayed on the actual box art. So I mean, other than that though, that is pretty much it for the actual end itself and all of its contents, and you guys heard my opinions on it. That's it, and now let's move on to this badass. Okay, so the Ender Dragon itself, like I just said, this thing is badass, and I meant it. The LEGO Group has done a fantastic job on this thing, but the one problem with the minifigure scale sets is the actual scale itself. And when I say that, here's Steve next to the Ender Dragon. Do you guys remember the Ender Dragon being this big in game? Because I sure as hell don't. And unfortunately, that is once again a problem with the transfer of Minecraft into minifigure scale form. You're just going to have these problems, and there's really no avoiding it if you want like a super awesome Ender Dragon like this one. So I mean, it's understandable. Once again, it's just unfortunate. So yeah, but putting the minifigure aside there to get a better look at the actual Ender Dragon, oh my god. This thing blew me away. I didn't expect it to be this awesome. And I did not expect it to have the actual flapping wing feature, and this is really awesome. You've basically got a peg in there attached to this little block of 2x2 bricks and plates that pushes down on a few more Technic pieces, and that pretty much allows for the wings to flap up and down, which I think is awesome because it's fully functioning and it works really well and it's stable. So I really appreciate the LEGO Group was able to put in that feature because it's just really awesome. And yeah, so one of the main things that blew me away with the Ender Dragon here is just how articulated this thing is. And just to go over the articulation first, the entirety of the tail is fully articulated. All of these 2x2 bricks that you're seeing with the plates on top of them are completely articulated. You can bend these, each and every single one of them, in whichever way you want, and it works perfectly, and it's completely fully functional. And I think that that's awesome because I mean, when you're building this thing, I was just completely surprised by how much articulation LEGO was able to put into this. And these spikes using the light gray bricks and plates turned out really nice, and the neck is also articulated, by the way. And you can see that this is articulated in pretty much all of the 2x2 joints that you can see going on here. And it is once again accurate. It's got the exact same respective number of blocks that make up the Ender Dragon's tail and neck. And then the actual head itself cannot be bent backward, but it can be bent down, which is really nice. And that's actually its stopping point right there. The ears can bend back and forth because it just uses a couple little clips with some 1x1 plates on top of those. And the mouth itself opens, and you can see it looks really awesome, either closed or whether it's open. It's really awesome. And also because you got the actual eyes and the mouth as printed pieces. These are not stickers, and honestly I was kind of expecting them to be stickers. So the fact that they are tiles is really nice. The fact that they are tiles, the fact that they are printed words is really nice. And yeah, so in terms of more articulation, the legs are fully articulated as well. You can see you've got these pieces here allowing you to bend his thighs back and forth, and they can actually go pretty much all the way backwards and completely defy everything about our knowledge of the Ender Dragon's joints. And also they can be bent back and forth. He has knee articulation, he's got the ankle articulation, it's all posable. And what I'm showing you is not even the limitations of how much you can bend this thing. You can get it into some pretty wild poses if you really wanted to. And also the arms are fully articulated. The arms can actually rotate a full 360 degrees, which I think is really awesome. They can be bent up and down. It's got the wrist articulation. It's got everything going on here, and it's just freaking awesome how much articulation LEGO was able to put into this. But it's got the exact same thing where instead of having this thing covered in tiles, it's completely covered in plates, and you have a lot of different studs going on, which obviously once again could have been covered up with some tiles to make this look more smooth and more Minecraft-like. But once again, for playability. If you want your Steve to be riding your Ender Dragon, you're not going to be able to do that if you got a bunch of tiles all over this thing. So I mean, it's completely understandable once again, and I really do like what the LEGO Group was able to do here with the Ender Dragon, regardless of the, you know, the actual scaling issues and all of that, and my inability to speak and discuss this thing in the appropriate way. So I apologize for that, I think. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the actual Ender Dragon. But before we head off into the box instruction manual and extra pieces, I do want to give you guys a look at what he looks like in flight mode, or flight position, whatever you want to call it. And here we go. So, I mean, as you can see, if you get this thing in a decent flight position, it does look really awesome, and especially if you get the wings flapping as well. This is honestly the complete Ender Dragon. I could not ask for more with a minifigure scale Ender Dragon. This is exactly what I was hoping for from the LEGO Group, and they definitely delivered on this one. And yeah, so you can have Steve defeat your Ender Dragon and head back to the overworld, and yeah, man, there you go. It's freaking awesome. You know, I don't know what it is about boxes when I show them in reviews now, but it's like I get this like fisheye effect. I don't even know how this is happening, so I apologize for that. I guess I'll have to work that out, but yes, you can see the box art that we've got going on for the end here is really awesome, and you can see it's pretty much showing you everything that this set should have been in terms of expansion, because really all this background end stone you see really should have been the actual set, and like I already said, the set really should have been bigger. But yes, the box art is really nice. You've got the Ender Dragon regenning a bit with the Ender Crystal on top of the main pillar, and then on the top you've got the new diamond armored Steve sporting the actual size reference, and then pretty much all the features that I already showed you, along with about 2 or so action shots on the back, or actually 3, I can't count, and yeah. So, in terms of the instruction manual, which unfortunately is really bent in my case, it has about a 65-page build, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty lengthy, but it is still completely understandable. And you can see at the end of it, it's pretty interesting, because what you've got going on here, and the reason that it's 65 pages is that you've pretty much, once you get past the actual build and the actual set itself, they have a set of instructions, basically what they consider rebuild inspiration, to once again encourage you to pretty much build whatever it is that you want to build with these sets, and gives you an instruction book for pretty much an entirely different version of the end. And it's very similar in terms of the pillars and everything, and the terrain. It's just slightly different with the actual obsidian like, you know, base, and it is a little bit different, and the light brick is used differently. So I mean, it's different. It's definitely not something I wanted to bother with, because it doesn't really look as great as the actual set, so I didn't bother with that. So I apologize if you wanted to see me build it, but I mean, if you really want to yourself, you can pretty much get a good idea of what it's going to be like just by looking at this little digital render of it right there. And yeah, so in terms of renders, we've got another awesome render of you know, basic Minecraft artwork that we see all over the place. If you can see this walking through Walmart, you can see that is included in the instruction manual, along with an advertisement for the new LEGO Minecraft page that LEGO put up on their site recently, along with, once again, more models that you can pretty much create out of any of these sets. And once again, LEGO is encouraging you to rebuild these sets in whichever way you want, and making them fully customizable. And also, you have the rest of the LEGO Minecraft sets, and pretty much the entirety of the lineup, all 6 sets and their minifigures included, beneath them. So that's a really nice graphic, and I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing the majority of these sets if I end up able to do it, and hopefully that will be the case. Though, an advertisement for the LEGO Club, and then pretty much nothing else on the back, and that's it for your instruction manual. The extra pieces are kind of underwhelming. Really, all it is, it's just a bunch of 1x1 tiles, plates, and studs, primarily made up of the transparent colors for the torches. You also have some black in here, along with some light gray, a couple light gray plates, and a light gray connector, and then you also have a purple stud. But I mean, other than that, like I said, it's really just a lot of 1x1 plates, tiles, and studs. But yeah, guys, so thank you for sticking around all the way through my first LEGO Minecraft minifigure scale review. I know it was a long one, but there was definitely a lot to be discussed for my first go around with these sets. So yeah, but that is it for my first LEGO Minecraft minifigure scale review, and let's go ahead and wrap up this video. Alright guys, and there you go, my first review on the new minifigure scale Minecraft sets, and hopefully I'll be able to review the other 5 sets. I mean, I'm certainly going to try. It's just after everything my family and I have gone through in this past year, I just cannot guarantee that at all. I would love to definitively say that I'm going to review all of them. It's just I can't guarantee it. What I can guarantee to you guys though is that I will do my utmost to actually get these reviews done, because I mean, I've wanted to review these sets for a long time. I've been looking forward to them ever since they were announced while I was at Minecon last year, and so I'm really hoping that I will be able to do so. But like I said guys, no promises, but I can definitely guarantee that I'll at least be able to review half of these sets, because the cave and the farm shouldn't be too big of a stretch for me right now. But if you enjoyed this review or maybe found it informative, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a quick like below and or your opinion in the comments, because these sets, you know, like I already pointed out, they do have problems. It's just most of these problems, as I already pointed out, like the studded, you know, the entire sets and how they're completely coated in studs, and how the minifigures in terms of scaling, you know, the scaling is out the window, as I said. I mean, all of these things factor in, but I mean, like I already said as well, these all have understandable reasons behind them. So I mean, I would love to hear you guys' opinions in the comments, and now that you have pretty much heard that I don't actually hate these sets, it's just that they have problems that I think are worth addressing. But yeah, you can also follow me on the Twitter twats and the book faces. Links to both of those are always down in the description below as well, and there I post all kinds of behind the scenes photos and previews for upcoming figures that I'm working on, and definitely some minifigures that I hopefully will be doing before this year ends are some minifigure scale customs, because as you guys know, I've been making a bunch of micro mobs for the Achievement Hunter team from Rooster Teeth, and once those are showcased and done, I will definitely be moving on to minifigure scale customs, and I might make a few last micro mobs, but as it stands right now, I think I'm definitely going to be making the switch over to minifigure scale customs. But let me know. Gotta catch my breath. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. But other than that, guys, it's pretty much it for this review, and I will definitely catch you in the next one, which will most likely be on the cave. So that's it, guys, and I'll see you later. Alright.
Bye!
Your scale, I almost said analysis because I've been doing so many analysis videos. For a while, the price point, I have not done reviews in a while. Damn it.